Somewhere between the rolling hills, pine woods, and lush Provence vineyards of southern France lies a beautiful 900-hectare chateau, Château de Miraval. The owner of this most beautiful music studio in the world is the famous actor Brad Pitt. But he didn't acquire it in its current enchanting state. No, this man went all in, pouring his heart and soul to transform it into the dreamy music studio that stands today. Let's rewind a bit.
Welcome to Who the F***? Please subscribe to our channel and get to know everyone you really need to meet.
Who do you think you are?
Join me as I take you back to the days when this historic studio came into being for the melodies that touch our hearts today. In 1977, Jacques Lussier, a French pianist, along with sound engineer Patrice Keff, founded a studio in a 17th century Provençal chateau. This was the same studio that is known as Miraval today, but it wasn't called Miraval Studios initially. Its first name was Studio Miraval. Right from its inception, the studio drew significant attention. It became notably famous when Pink Floyd recorded part of their album The Wall there in 1979. However, Pink Floyd was just the beginning of a long list of famous musicians who would use the studio, including AC/DC, The Cure, Rammstein, and many others. In 1992, the studio underwent some changes. First of all, Lussier sold the complex to a U.S. Naval Academy engineering graduate and businessman Tom Bove for $5 million. And then Tom Bove decided to rename it to Miraval Studios. During this period, the rock band Muse also recorded two notable songs at Miraval, Take a Bow and Invincible. But don't think of Miraval Studios as something associated with just music. It also had a thriving vineyard. At that time, the vineyard produced around 150,000 bottles of high-quality wine annually, which were sold in top-tier restaurants. In fact, the Miraval Rosé wine earned a reputation as one of the most sought-after Provence rosés in the world. Eventually, the charm and history of this chateau attracted the attention of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's journey with Miraval began quite dramatically. They were helicopter hopping, searching for the perfect spot in the south of France when they stumbled upon Miraval. It was love at first sight. Jolie was holding Shiloh, and she needed a place to change the baby, and that's how they got their first real introduction to the estate. The sprawling property, with its olive and oak trees, enchanting lavender fields, serene lake, vineyards, and the grand 35-room manor house, captured their hearts instantly. Their visit was so captivating that Tom Bove invited them to stay for lunch. As they left, Pitt expressed their intent to return, but Bove knew it. He knew it in his heart that they had a deep interest in buying Miraval. On May 8, 2008, the couple made it official. They purchased the property for 25 million euros. However, Bove stayed involved. Pitt was definitely fascinated by the vineyard, but wasn't planning to manage it personally. So he let Bove continue to oversee a significant portion of the land. Under Pitt's ownership, the production of the famous Miraval Rosé wine skyrocketed from 150,000 to a staggering 10 million bottles. But that's not all the attachment the family got with Miraval. Miraval became more than just an investment for the couple. It was here that Jolie gave birth to Knox and Vivian in July 2008. Then in 2014, Pitt and Jolie chose the ancient chapel on the estate to tie the knot in an intimate ceremony with just 20 guests, surrounded by their 6 children and close family members. For the Jolie Pitt family and Miraval Studios, everything seemed like a perfect fairy tale. But as you know, with all tales, there comes a twist in the story, something completely unexpected. The story of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie with Miraval took a dramatic turn. Initially, when they bought the estate, Pitt held a 60% stake and Jolie had 40%. Throughout their ownership, Pitt invested millions and successfully boosted sales by 300%. In December 2013, before they got married, Pitt transferred 10% of his share to Jolie, making them equal partners in the venture. Then came 2016, the dark year for the family. September 13, 2016. That day, the family had what would later be referred to as the Last Supper at Miraval, dining together at a long outdoor table. The following day marked the beginning of their downfall. The details of the events that happened on a plane trip the next day were revealed bit by bit over the years. What is now known is that the plane landed in International Falls, and a serious altercation occurred between Pitt and Jolie. The reason? Well, Brad Pitt was intoxicated by alcohol and lost his rage. This incident frightened Jolie and the children and caused significant damage inside the plane and, of course, their marriage. Just 5 days after this incident, on September 19, 2016, Jolie filed for divorce. The separation brought into question the future of Miraval Studios. After negotiations, Pitt decided to buy out Jolie's 50% share of the estate. In February 2021, they agreed on a deal. Pitt would pay Jolie $54.5 million for her complete interest in Miraval, including her share of the profits that had not been distributed yet. The next thing we know is that Pitt wanted to revamp the whole thing. He wanted to give the studio a new look, ready to take on new artists. In 2022, Brad Pitt asked for the help of French record producer Damien Cantar to give Miraval Studios a cool makeover. They had a big dream: to make the studio a place where artists could really let their creativity flow, thinking of stars like Billie Eilish and Phineas while redesigning. Pitt and Cantar mixed the old with the new. They put in a super cool console that Pitt himself helped design, which could do both old school analog and new digital stuff. They also added a fancy Dolby Atmos system, perfect for making movie and TV sounds really pop. The studio got decked out with booths for recording, a special room just for old-school synthesizers, and places to edit both sound and video. But they didn't forget the studio's roots. There is the famous drum room from the old days. They totally kept it the same, because it has got a special sound that's just too good to change. They also made a huge live room and a big control room, while keeping a lot of the classic gear that famous musicians used to make their hits. So in the summer of 2022, Miraval Studios swung open its doors again, all jazzed up and ready for a new chapter of music magic. That was all for today's video. What do you think of the new look of the studio? What changes do you suggest for the place? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.